morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to talk about a new promo pack that's coming around in Japan. But of course, when a promo pack comes around in Japan, we're not just talking about alternate arts or things like that. There are a few stamped cards, we'll go through them nice and quickly. No, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about a new EX and some other fun stuff indeed. So with all of that borne in mind, let's start off with the EX, the big dude, the headliner, so to speak. We've got Rabsca EX. Now, I don't know how many people were desperately clamoring for a Rabsca EX, but I don't care because we've got one anyway. Is it any good? Maybe, actually. Maybe. Now, we got 250 HP on a Stage 1 EX, which isn't great, but it is Rabsca. And then we've got an attack for a single colourless energy that lets you draw 3 cards from the bottom of your deck. Now, most of the time, if we assume that your deck has been shuffled and you don't know what's going on and all of that, then essentially it makes no difference where you draw the cards from. Whether you draw them from the top or bottom of your deck becomes completely irrelevant and nobody cares. So it's just a single colourless energy draw 3, and honestly, yeah, we'd rather it was on a basic, but we understand that's not always possible. But you know what? It's alright. Here's the thing though. There are times when we know what the cards on the bottom of our deck are, and the obvious answer here is Iono. Iono makes you shuffle your hand and put it on the bottom of your deck and then draw a number of cards equal to your remaining prizes. So if you've got cards that you know are good, that you're in your hand, and then they get Iono down to the bottom of your deck, what a lot of the time we end up doing is we'll play a card to make us shuffle our deck, an Ultra Ball or something along those lines, which will then randomise the cards back into our deck so we stand a chance of drawing into them. What you could do here is just use Rabsca and draw them. And it's not perfect because of the whole, it's a Stage 1 and using it as your attack just to draw cards. I understand. I'm just saying drawing 3 cards on the bottom can be good. What is more useful here is the second attack that does 20 damage plus 90 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Now, it is for free energy, which isn't ideal, but it will get you Charizard. This will get Charizard very nicely. Now, the energy is a bit of a pain, but you can use double turbo energy, for instance. That would work. And we still do have Gardenia's Vigor, which will absolutely work. So we've got ways to get the energy on here. I'm not worried too much about that. And then what you're doing here is, against Charizard, you're hitting 200 damage, assuming they've got 2 energy on. And then double to 400, or 180 if using double turbo, double to 360. Either way, you good. And then I'm kind of liking this, honestly. I think this could end up being very, very, very nice. And here's the other thing about Rabsca. It is a Gen 9 Pokemon. It is a Scarlet and Violet Pokemon. Which means you better believe we've got other options here. If we want to, play this card, we got some others we can use. We've got the one that originally came around in Paldea Evolved, which is honestly terrible. Does have a nice alternate art, but terrible card. But then we got the one from Temporal Forces that prevents all damage from and effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to your bench Pokemon. So damage counters from Dragapult, for instance, would be blocked here. And this is actually a really useful card. So what you can do here is essentially combine the two of these up. So you've got the option of the one whereby you're blocking the effects of attacks like damage counters, which is nice. But then you've also got this new EX, which is a decent attacker / potential draw engine in a pinch. And actually you add this all together and this is a pretty interesting Pokemon. I don't love the cost of the second attack. That could be a little bit cheaper. But I think you've got decent damage on that second attack. You're hitting a pretty nice weakness. You've got a useful first attack and another Pokemon with which to combine it. And I think you add that all up and you go, you know what? There is just a little bit of potential here. I'm going to go ahead and give this one tentatively between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. I think there's something going on here. And I'm frankly a little bit happy about it. Cool. But it's a new promo pack, and in these new promo packs, we always got ourselves a trainer card as well. And we've got ourselves a new trainer card here as well. We've got ourselves an item card, and this one could be kind of interesting. TM Machine. And you know it's called TM Machine. And even if you read absolutely no Japanese whatsoever, you can look at the text on here and see that there's a free. And honestly, that should tell you about what you need to know. What this one does is you search a deck for free technical machines and put them into your hand. Or free tool cards with technical machine in their name, if you want to be a pedant, and put them into your hand. And you know what? Yeah, there's actually quite a lot of potential with this one. Because the fact of the matter is, we've got some good technical machines right now. There are a bunch of them. We've had a few over the last few sets, but there are then a bunch of them that are actually seeing a whole bunch of play. I'm not counting the new one in this set. The new one in this set I don't think is very good. But you've got, for instance, Technical Machine Evolution. Choose up to 2 of your bench Pokemon. For each of these Pokemon, search a deck for a card that evolves from that Pokemon and put it on that Pokemon to evolve them. Or Technical Machine Devolution. Devolve each of your opponent's evolved Pokemon by putting the highest stage evolution card on it into your opponent's hand. Or Technical Machine Turbo Energize, which lets you search a deck for 2 basic energy and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way that you like. Or Crisis Punch, that does 280 as long as your opponent's got exactly 1 prize card remaining. These are good tools that see a bunch of play. Now, honestly, nowadays, most of the time, early doors, you're only going to need 1 of these at a time, because they fall off at the end of your turn, so you can't attach extra, because you can only use 1, and then the rest fall off. And you can use Arven to go and search these out. So a lot of the time, that's probably going to be good enough. But the thing is, sometimes you need 1 for this turn, 1 for next turn. Or you just want to attach a bunch of tools. Or you just want to, empty out your deck a little bit to thin or whatever. And in those situations, this will work. And it will work quite nicely. But I do, unfortunately, get the impression here that most of the time, you're only ever going to need 1 of these at a time. And if you're only ever going to need 1 of these at a time, you can just use something like an Arven to go and search them out. I'm just not sure how often we're really going to need an item card that searches 3 of them. But I would be remiss here if I didn't mention Rotom V-Star. I love Rotom V-Star because it lets you put any number of Pokemon tool cards in your discard pile into the Lost Zone and do 40 more damage for each card you put in the Lost Zone in this way. And obviously this will, search out your TMs and then you do attach them all. And yeah, fine, they will fall off at the end of your turn, but you want them to, so they go in the discard so you can Lost Zone them. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm okay with Rotom V-Star. What I really like here is Porygon 2, single energy, 20 damage for each Pokemon tool card in the Lost Zone. Yeah, use Rotom V-Star to Lost Zone all the tools, and then use my boy Porygon 2 to come along and take advantage afterwards. It's a deck I have wanted to work forever, and it hasn't really worked ever. But I'm telling you, it's got more of a chance now than it's ever had because of this card. Because this card exists, we finally have at least a chance here of making this actually work. And that's all I really need. I'm giving this one 3 Wassies. I do think that the best thing about this is the possibility of making Rotom Porygon work. And I don't think Rotom Porygon's going to work. But like I've said, let me have my fantasy. Now, with it being a promo pack, we got a new EX, I've shown you that. We got a new trainer card, I've shown you that. Which means we generally have nowadays, a new Stage 1 evolution line as well. So I think I should probably show you that now, shouldn't I? We have ourselves a Hippowdon line, and this one looks... Well, look, the art is kind of by the same artist, and it's evoking the same area. They're kind of in the same place, and that's kind of lovely. So, as a pair artistically, I enjoy them very much indeed. As playability cards, well, the Hippotas here you just do 10 damage and your opponent's Pokemon gets switched to the bench. It's not great, I'm going to be honest with you, so sorry about that. And the Hippowdon, we got 2 energy 60, or 3 energy 150, and 40 to all bench Pokemon. And it is all bench Pokemon, so that will include both yours and your opponent's. It's too expensive, it doesn't do enough damage, it's on a stage 1. I don't think it's actually good. These ones are like, hey cool, look at the artwork, that's lovely. But yeah, I don't think playability-wise these are particularly stunning, and I'm sorry about that. It's worth noting also that there are stamped versions available of Boss's Orders Gets This, Jet Energy, and Iron Bundle, all of which are actually really good playable cards. So it's cool that we're getting them, but yeah, that's about the best I can say for the time being. Right, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these new cards. Tell me everything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Kanto Royalty, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now, and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.